G'day folks. Well, today on this video we're going to talk about the VacuPan system, the breather system that I've engineered for this beast. It's not a new design, guys. It's been around for a long time. I know that Mr. Gasket, he makes a couple of Venturi style tubes that you can mount into your collector pipe and hook up some breathers at the top of your rocker covers. And look, it works incredibly well, guys. I'm surprised a lot more people are not using this design. I know you can get vacuum pumps. A lot of guys just seem to run like to atmosphere with no aid in pulling out your blow-by. Since putting it on, guys, and running it, my oil leak or my rear main seal has literally vanished. It's improved at about 90%. It's incredible the way it works. The harder you rev the engine, the more boost you put into this thing, any combination that runs a VacuPan style, the better it works. Obviously, you don't really need it down idling, pottering around, but once the boost creeps in, once the revs increase, the cylinder pressure increases, and the need for a good evacuation system is very, very important. Guys, I don't get any water contaminants in my E85 or in my oil from E85. It's amazing. You know, I couldn't work it out. It took me a little while to work it out how well this works. When I was idling often down at the track on a cool day, I would get a lot of vapour coming out of this, you know, and the motor would be very warm, and it was always vapouring. Well, I figured it out. It's the condensation that builds up, the moisture that builds up in the engine, in the crankcase area. This is just pulling it out beautifully all the time, and I just did an oil change not long ago. I was expecting to be a little bit of water in it, not a drop. I actually was near thinking about putting the oil back in. It was that good. It was unbelievable. Now, the other benefit too, which I found, is originally I had it it venting just to atmosphere, and I could smell it driving around too. So that was always a concern. But since routing it to the rear, into the exhaust, just shy of the tip of the exhaust, we're actually just mixing all the fumes that come out from that engine into one collection point. And then I think that as a safety improvement, health improvement, it's really good. Stops leaks, literally eliminates leaks, and keeps it seems to just keep the engine clean from inside because you're pulling it like nothing else. It's quite amazing. I really should put a little vacuum gauge, like a real sensitive one, to see if we are getting into negative pressure once we get up in the revs and really this thing starts to percolate. I'm guessing, well, at least we're neutral. And if we are building up much pressure, well, not enough to see any oil, significant oil, come out of that rear main seal. It's amazing. It's like I fixed the seal or reduced it down to a few drops. It's amazing. I run a 4-breather setup out of this. So we are pulling 2 from the rocker covers either side, and we've got 2 from the manifold, because I firmly believe you don't want to pull too much vacuum or have too much blow-by coming up through the heads and restricting oil flow back through from being pumped up through your rocker valve, your rocker gear, and then having to expect it to drain back when you've got a rush of blow-by coming up through the heads. So running the manifold reduces that, takes the pressure off, it equalises it a little bit more, and I find that works a treat. I've had no issues in that sense, so it's awesome. Now the breather setup on this, I do run it into I think it's a 4 litre, nearly a 1 gallon box, and I do run it, have an oil return on it too. So once things settle down, you're off the throttle, any oil that gets built up in there just simply returns back into the sump. So that's a really good little setup too. I think that's vital, because you'll end up just pulling oil out and running the thing dry if you're not careful. Now I run from there, from the box, this is only PVC pipe, it's 40 mil, it's about 1.5 inches inside diameter, and I've routed that all the way through. I can't quite see it there, it's actually just on the, I painted it black so you won't see it. It just shoots up from here, up in behind the guard, and then goes through into the firewall, and then we've got it mounted, or not mounted, but routed through to the rear of the car through to here. So this was a little bit of design sort of, what would you call it? I had to do a couple of goes at it to get it to work really well. You can't just mount, well you can, but you'd probably want a check valve on this. This doesn't have a check valve. I know on the Mr. Gasket style ones, they have a check valve, so we don't, at low revs, we don't get any reversion wanting to go back up through the pipe. I did find that anything under around 2,000 revs, I was just getting a little bit of reversion come back through. But I think once airspeed really kicks into gear, the Venturi effect would kick in no trouble. I've done a lot of testing, and I'll just show you. I'm going to grab a torch and I'll show you what I've done inside the pipe to improve sort of the low end. And look, it may even help up top too, guys. This is what I've found works really well for me. I've actually made a bit of a shroud, and it's just pulling all the time. If you see how it's sliced in there, it was actually so just on the pulses. I was just getting it was almost like a tiny little bit of reversion back through. I was testing this with actually just a really flimsy one of those nitrile gloves, and yeah, it works. It works incredibly well, guys. It's an amazing. It's free, like for the energy. It doesn't tax the engine. It keeps the gases, all the blow-by through one exhaust, so you're not contaminating up around your engine bay and having to sniff it all, smell it all the time. So your health's improved. You know, you're making it a lot safer for your health. And the Venturi effect is phenomenal the way it works. It really is. I've actually, if you can, yeah, there. Look up at the far end. See how I've sort of got a tapered wedge, so we get a nice slipstream. We're not getting too much turbulence from the exhaust. I thought I'd just put that in and yeah, make it a bit more streamlined. It just works amazingly. I'm so happy with it, and yeah, it's just one of those things that never really cost me a lot of money. It was just a bit of effort and ingenuity, and look, it's just amazing. I don't run any spring on my dipstick. You know, if you keep popping dipsticks, there was always oil coming out of that all the time too, and that was always a telltale sign that this was building up a bit of pressure inside. But ever since I've done the VacuPan style, guys, it's been eliminated, and it's the best thing ever. It's just it's basically no maintenance, nothing to bolt on, nothing to service, maintain. Just keep checking your oil, make sure it's you've got plenty of oil in your engine, and it's bloody brilliant. I just don't understand why more people haven't done it. It's amazing. Well, there you go, guys. That's my little system, and it works incredibly well. I'm a huge believer in it. Yes, I don't know if I could improve on it, to be honest. But look, end of the day, if you're not getting any oil come out of your engine and you're susceptible to leaks, well, that tells you that it's, something must be working. It's incredible. All right, guys. Well, there's my VacuPan system for my little turbocharged road course or circuit car. It's unbelievable. All right, guys, catch you later.